the way. All right. So Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach. All right, chapter 37. So if you have anything, beloved, please bring it out. Okay. I'm not even I don't think I always say I'm not precepting if something happens. But I don't have no plans for it. Okay. So if you got something, please bring it out. Yep. So Ecclesiasticus, all right, also known as Sirach, chapter 37. It says, every friend saith, I am his friend also. But there's a friend which is only a friend in name. Is it not a grief unto death when a companion and friend is turned to an enemy? All right. So we starting off with some friendship stuff, beloved. All right. And we know the Ecclesiastes is dealing with a lot of wisdom. We get a lot of daily wisdom, daily gems in this book. Okay. So every friend, right, that say I'm a friend, they claim they're a friend. Guess what? We should already know that, beloved. They're not always friends. All right. It says what? Some of them just a friend in name. Some of them just a friend in title. Okay. This is not just for friends, but with everything, beloved. Right? Some say they're your brother. It's just in title. Okay. So don't get caught up just with a title per se, beloved. All right. Make sure they, as the scripture say, prove themselves to be those things. Right. But it says, is it not a grief unto death when a companion and friend is turned into an enemy? Don't it hurt, beloved? When you thought somebody to be a friend, somebody to have your back, to be on your side, and they turn out to be what? An enemy. It's a grievous pain. Okay. And I love it because the Bible gives us the real. All right. This is all part of spirituality. Okay, we're going to run across these things and teach you how to deal with relationships and all that. The Bible has everything, touches all kinds of things, beloved. All right. So, verse 3, O wicked imagination, whence camest thou in to cover the earth with deceit? There is a companion which rejoiceth in the prosperity of a friend, but in the time of trouble will be against them. Okay. And the scriptures talk about people don't get caught up with the friends you get when you are doing well, beloved. Okay. Everybody can gravitate when you're doing well. But it's the time when you're declining or don't have, that's when you'll see where the real friends are. Okay. Um, when you look at even some of these athletes and stuff like Mike Tyson, right? When he's at the height of his career, you had all these people gravitated to him. And then when he got in trouble and the money, you see everybody scattered, right? And this goes with a lot of different things. So, beloved, the ones when you find those real friends and everything, they'll be there even when things ain't going well. But some are there just because you're a supply to them, right? They'll be with you as long as they can, eat the crumbs from your table. But as soon as you don't provide or they feel like you can't do anything for them, they'll leave. Okay. Anybody got anything from 1 through 4? And there's examples about this as well in the Bible. Okay, there's examples of this going on, but I think we should understand this even in everyday life and probably experienced it personally or seen this happen. Okay, verse 5. There is a companion which helpeth his friend for the belly, right? And taketh up the buckler against the enemy. All right. Buckler is like a shield. All right. So you can look at God sometimes. Trying to think. Sometimes I pray out. Sometimes when I pray, I'll say, like talking about Yahweh and how he's a butler. A butler. All right. So I'm not saying he's a butler like a servant, but he's a shield. Okay, he's a shield in time of trouble. Verse 6. Forget not thy friend in thy mind, and be not unmindful of him in thy riches. All right. So we don't want to forget somebody that's a true friend. Okay. Because what? They're there for you. They're there for you and not what you can just provide. Okay. So with a true friend, don't be unmindful of him when the riches. When you start to what? Move up or you start to, and I'm saying this in the worldly sense, right? Maybe you start to get more money or this and that, right? Things that would bring people to you, flock people to you. Don't forget the friend. Why? Because the friend was there before that. And you don't have to usually question a motive of a true friend, because what? They're not there. They didn't come after you receive things. They were there at the bottom. Okay? So he's saying, don't forget them when you elevate. All right? That's where the true loyalty at. They were there when you didn't have nothing. All right? And if you do go back down, guess what? They'll still be there. All right? So you don't want to forget them. When you elevate them, you want to, still be connected. All right? So they say, don't forget your day ones. All right? Verse 7. Every counselor extolleth counsel, all right? But there is some that counseleth for himself. Beloved, this is very important. Beware of a counselor and know before what need he hath, for he will counsel for himself. Lest he cast a lot upon thee. I'm going to read the next verse as well, verse 9. And say unto thee, thy way is good. And afterward he stand on the other side to see what shall befall thee. Okay, so in other words, because the word can be a little tricky and confusing at times, beloved, but this is saying you need to be mindful. All right, you need to be mindful of counselors. You need to be mindful who you're getting wisdom from. We mentioned this a lot. I'm not hitting these with these chapters. We have to be mindful who we are grabbing things from. So even a counselor, because sometimes we will install certain counselors, we'll install certain ones that we're, certain I don't want to say idols, but ones you look to, or look for guidance and experience, all those kind of things. You have to be mindful when you're dealing with them, because they could be doing things to get from you and not for you. So you need to know what the motive of the counselor. And sometimes you can't get the motive of just what they're saying sometimes, beloved. He's saying they will counsel for their gain. Okay? Some of the pastors, that pastor, these are the church, right? They're supposed to be and sort of what? Counseling. That's part of teaching, right? You get the wisdom and everything of God, you're going to have to learn what? You're going to know counsel. Okay? Now, do all pastors and teachers and deacons and all those things, do you think they always thinking about the best thing for the people? No. The righteous ones, yeah. They're supposed to put you first. But there are some that's not guided by the Spirit, and they will guide you to what? To what's best for them. Okay? You go to that brother, you think he's helping you out, walking you spiritually. He might be, sorry to say, ladies, he might be trying to get in your pants the whole time. He's giving you the counsel. You talk about your relationship problem and your husband doing this, and he's giving you counsel, right? Oh yeah, you just need to leave him, blah, blah, forget all that. So and he's trying to get with you. You get counsel like that. You'll get counsel. Oh yeah, you need to do this, and you need to get this money over here. Get, you know what I mean? And God will bless you. Some of them doing what? Their counsel, because it gain for their gain and not yours. Okay, so you need to beware of counsel and know before what need he have. Okay, understand what's his need with this. Is he doing this because he is instructed by the Spirit of God to help and assist because he loved the people of God? Or his deeds different? He got selfish motives. Okay, you need to know different. This is with any kind of form of counseling. And understand the motive is very, very important. Okay. All right. Anybody got anything for what we've read so far? All right. Verse 9. And say, and say unto thee, thy way is good. And afterward he stand on the other side to see what shall befall thee. All right. Yeah, that's good. And then you see, let me see how this works out, right? Verse 10. Consult not with one that suspecteth thee, and hide thy counsel from such as envy thee. All right. So those, beloved, that's envious of you, those that's all that kind of stuff, don't trust that counsel. Why? Because that's the motive. An envious person of you is probably not trying to do what's going to what? Propel you or push you, because he's envious of you, right? He don't want you to go so far because you're leaving him behind. So he's going to give you what? Bad counsel to what? Keep you back, right? This is why you want to sometimes get this. good to get somebody that's not envious of you. They want to see you flourish, right? As we'll say, you don't want to get a hater. You don't want a hater to be your counselor, okay? Because they're not going to be looking for you. They're not looking out for your best interest, okay? So this is why, once again, he's saying you need to know who you consult with, okay? Somebody that's a hater just always want to, push things down, or these are people that you hear people on these podcasts and stuff that will say, oh, I don't believe God, I don't do that Bible stuff, is this and that. But then you want to get counsel from them in everyday life. You want to get counsel from them, and they're saying they don't deal with God, and then you're going to get mad at God when things fall apart because you listening to that. We can't be blaming God for the foolishness that we're doing, beloved. All right? So we hide our counsel from those kind of people. You think somebody's a hater and all that stuff, because sometimes the Spirit will give you that little discernment. They ain't really for you. You hide your counsel from them. I'm not telling them certain things so they can weaponize and all that stuff. Nope. Okay. Verse 11. Listen to this. Neither consult with a woman touching her of whom she is jealous, neither with a coward in matters of war, nor with a merchant concerning exchange, nor with a buyer of selling, nor with an envious man of thankfulness, nor with an unmerciful man touching kindness, nor with a slothful for any work, nor with an hireling for a year of finishing work, nor with an idle servant of much business. Hearken not unto these in any matter of counsel. I'm going to stop there. Stop there because that was a long verse. All right. So, beloved, when you're looking at this, it's saying who you should not be getting counsel with, because you need to know the motive, beloved. So he's saying, neither counsel with a woman touching her of whom she is jealous. You do not want to get the counsel from your fellas, if you wife, whatever, right? Wife, you don't want to get her thoughts on somebody she's jealous of. It's not going to be good. See, the Bible already tell you it's not going to be good. She's jealous of it. You know she's jealous of it. It's probably not going to be great counsel. Right, ladies? You can probably agree with that. It's like, well, what you think about this? He might be doing this. She got this. Then why don't you be with her? Right? She gives you that kind of stuff. The counsel's not going to be good. All right. And that matter when it's somebody she's jealous of. Okay. And it can be the same thing flipped around. I'm just saying you can flip it around the other way with men. If they have that spirit of jealousy on them, probably not going to be good counsel with it. Okay. It shouldn't be that way, but a lot of times it is. Neither with a coward in matters of war. Why? All right. Because a coward ain't trying to do a war. They will give it bad advice just to what? Spare themselves. All right. War already supposed to be the last, measure of things, right? But a coward, don't ask him, don't get his advice on everything when it comes to matters of war. A merchant concerning exchange, right? When you talk all fairness, do you think this and this? You ask somebody, what's some jobs that people be thinking they get dipped out of? Maybe like a mechanic or something like that. Sorry if you got any mechanics listening, right? Or a car salesman, right? You don't want to have, that a conversation with, money and what you can afford with them, right? Because they're going to what? Take advantage of that counsel. Oh yeah, I think you should do this. And they got you getting this car that you can't really afford, right? Got payments that they know you can't meet, right? All those kind of things. So he's saying you don't want to get that counsel with them, okay? Nor with buyers of selling, same kind of thing. Nor with an envious man of thankfulness. Already envious of you. They ain't trying to help you with being thankful. All right. Because envy is what? That spirit of jealousy, taking. I need to get. They don't think about what giving. Thankfulness is about what? Giving, appreciation, all those kind of things. So you don't want to get counsel with how to appreciate or give from somebody that's having a spirit of selfishness within them. Okay. A merciful man touching kindness, same. He's just giving you an example. I ain't go through each one, but just showing you the strife of be mindful so you need to know who you're dealing with and what the matter is. All right. Do they mix with the matter of what you're dealing with? Okay. If I'm dealing with relationships, am I getting counsel from somebody that's bitter? Right? A bitter woman or a bitter man, and you trying to go to them for a healthy relationship advice, it might not be the best advice, right, beloved? Counsel's already skewed. So he's saying the Bible telling you don't do it. But many have done these things, okay? And a lot of times it's what? It ends up in a train wreck. All right. And the thing about the Bible, beloved, when we go through the scriptures, is not saying sometimes you'll go the right routes. You can still maybe get bad counsel, right? All right. Or unfavorable counsel, even if you go the right route. But beloved, that's the thing. The Bible's pushing you. This is the best case. This is usually going to be the way to go. All right. There's a little exception, right? But he said this is the way to go. All right. So we don't try to go, well, I'm gonna do what the Bible opposite of what the Bible's saying. Hopefully I'm gonna get good results. No. Okay. And if you go the right route, beloved, and it ends up to be not the best counsel, guess who sees? The Most High. He will have mercy on those kind of things because what? You did it according to what you believe was the best and according to the word. There's mercy in that. And this is what people don't understand about mercy. It's not, I'm going to do whatever and God's going to just save me and take me out of it. No, it's I'm going to put my best foot forward and trusting because I'm doing it according to what God's instructed me to do, and God will guide me through it. That's where the mercy and the compassion, that's where he's flourishing in. It's not for people that just want to do rebellious stuff. I know the Bible say this, but I'm going to do this. And if it don't go work out well and everything, then I'm going to just ask God to get me. Nah, that's tempting God. You don't do that. Okay? So he's telling you, don't go to counsel for these kind of things. So if you go to counsel, all right, for those kind of things, guess what you're saying? I want to be deceived. Who's one of the famous ones, beloved? Our first king, Saul. He literally was killing witches, right, throughout the land. But when his mind got bad, he went and consulted the thing that what? He was purging out the land. And that's something we do. We purging ourselves from this world. And then when our minds start going wrong, we start saying, you know what? The world ain't too bad. Well, they got better advice in the church. See, your mind start going off. And he what? Consulted with somebody that had what? That familiar spirit. And he expected God to work in that. And this is where we're learning you don't do that. Okay? All right. Anybody got anything? All right. From 1 through 11. 1 through 11. Anybody have anything? Okay. Let's keep going. Verse 12. But be continually with a godly man, whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of Yahweh, whose mind is according to thy mind, and will sorrow with thee if thou shalt miscarry. Okay. So let's deal with obvious kind of misconceptions. This can, all right, yes, if you're dealing with like marriage for a young lady, yes, you should be with a godly man. Yes, we understand that point. Okay. Also, right, this will be dealing with what? Also, if you're dealing with church or leadership and things of that nature, you want to be connected with a godly man, a godly person. Whom thou know. Listen with the condition of the godly man, right? Continue with a godly man whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord. All right. So you see, okay, they're doing right. They're saying this. Okay. You continue with that. Whose mind is according to thy mind. All right. Because hopefully you're searching the right things. That's why you're connected. The Most High connects you with somebody that's what? Going that right direction. You go with your mind trying to get close to God. He's connecting you with somebody that has that same mind. Okay. And will sorrow with thee if thou shalt miscarry. Okay. So some people think of miscarriage. Yes, it can still apply to that. Right. If a young lady actually is pregnant and she miscarries, you want somebody to have sympathy on that. But miscarries any kind of misfortune. Okay. So they're with you. So things well, we're guided, we're walking this walk. And if something don't go right, all right, you trip, fall, whatever, you want that godly person to what? They can have empathy and compassion with you as well. Okay. That's part of that empathy piece that the Bible do talk about. Okay. I'm not going to find that off the top of my head. Scripture. Let me see. I think one of them is mourn. So let me look for it. Okay. That's the case, because some people might say, they crying and everything. You just don't worry about them. You just walk over them and you don't worry about. No, you're allowed to have compassion, beloved. That is not of the devil. That spirit, compassion is not the spirit of the devil. Okay. So Romans, I'm thinking of Romans chapter 12. Romans chapter 12. Romans chapter 12. I think it's another one too, but this will be good enough. Verse 15, Romans 12:15. Rejoice with them that do rejoice, and weep with them that weep. Okay. Be of the same, we just read it. Be of the same mind one toward another. Mind not the high things, but condescend to men of low estate. Be not wise in your own conceits. Okay. So, beloved, once again, get somebody that same path. Okay. Somebody go through something, somebody hurt, somebody experience loss. We can have compassion, experience loss with them. Right? I'm sorry to hear that. God, but this is the time where we also, it's good to have a godly person. What they're going to do, they're going to still what? Be there to encourage you spiritually. Okay? We got some ungodly people. Some of us was in that ungodly, right? Men, we taught that, right? Oh, when she's mourning over that you've been plotting on this woman, and now she had a problem with her partner, and now that man does what? Oh, he try to slide right in. Yeah, I feel sorry for you, right? Now he could never put his arms around you regularly, right? But now you're in a state of mourning, so now he goes and grabbing you and bringing you so close, and that, right? Yeah, it's all right. You can't be trusting guys like that, right? And you think it's good counsel. No, 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 no. He over there trying to manipulate, sister. He's trying to manipulate. Okay. But that's why I said don't go and get counsel from that kind of person, right? But a godly person, you can trust them because of what they're thinking about you. When they give you that hug, they're embracing you and trying to what? They're trying to take some of the pain with you. They're trying to show you, I'm there with you. They're not in there to try to cop a feel and, try to wiggle themselves in to take advantage of you. Okay? So that's the difference. That motive, that mindset, totally different. It can look the same. The hug can look the same. But what? The mindset changes the whole thing. All right? So you have to be mindful. All right? Definitely when you're in a state, like some things we flirt with when I'll say we so-called are good, right? Sometimes we're in our good state, we're strong, we're feeling strong in the spirit, right? And sometimes like, oh, that devil. I mean, I talked about, I don't pay no mind, blah, blah, blah. But guess what? When you're not so high in the spirit, I would say when you're feeling low, some of those things seem like it can get that greater influence, right? Because you're not at your top of your game. This is where you have that friend or whoever, that counselor, that man of God, whatever, being there to try to what? Shield and protect until you get back to your feet, right? Lack of better words. Okay. So hopefully we understand. You just want to be very mindful of counsel, beloved. This is where a lot of things go wrong. Get you closer to the God or get you further away, depending on the counsel you're getting. Verse 13. And let the counsel of thy own heart stand, for there is no man more faithful unto thee than it. Okay, yes, you're going to be faithful to your own mind, all right? For a man's mind is sometimes wont to tell him more than 7 watchmen that sit above in a high tower. All right. So your mind, we say mind is racing on a lot of our minds can do that. Love it. Okay. Our minds can go all over. It could be like 7 watchmen. You think about watchmen, right? There's 7 people watching. They watch at every angle, right? Your mind can feel like it's split up in 7 different directions. Okay. Those things can happen. But look at this. Look at this. Verse 15. And above all this, even all this happening, above this, guess what? Pray to the Most High that he will direct thy way in truth. Okay? Even when you're going through something, you need to pray, Lord, direct me to whom I should go to in truth. Okay? Even we got brothers in here. Let's say the church get bigger. We might have, 10, 15, people in that leadership position. You still don't say, you know what, I'm just going to grab a leader. I'll be fine, right? hopefully it'll be leadership that would have that reputation, right? But even in that case, the Lord might direct you. No, you need to get Brother Kai for this one. Oh, you might need to get Brother Floyd for it. Oh, you need to get Elder for it, right? The Spirit can lead you to a certain direction, and it's not taken away from nobody else. I left myself out of it, right? There are certain ones that the Spirit's going to direct you to, because sometimes, beloved, this is how good God is. God is so good. Sometimes you're going through a situation, but your situation going to that person, God is going to, sometimes he strengthens both parties. It's for both of y'all, right? And sometimes he does those kind of things. And we say two birds, one stone. Sometimes he'll do that. Sometimes that person you're going to, they need strength and stuff as well. And sometimes that can pull them up, right? So this is where we always want to pray. And the scripture says what? Acknowledge God in all your ways. Okay? Acknowledge him in all your ways. First thing, when we going through something, sometimes the first thing we want to do is react. We get impulsive. When you get impulsive, you be fast. That's when you make the most mistakes. Okay? People, wisdom, usually you think of what? Older people. What do they do a lot of times? They're more to wait, ponder. Let me see the whole situation. The young is more, okay, let's get to it right. And they make a lot more mistakes. The young is strong, but what? The old know the way. So when we're looking at this, the first thing, when you go through something, pray. Even if it's something, let's say something with me, I offended you with my words, right, with something. The first thing you should do, pray. And you can still come and address me and say, Brother Mike, you offended me. But the first thing you should do is pray. And if it really hits you, even fast as well. What that can do, first of all, if Brother Mike have a devil in him, guess what the fast and prayer can do? It can what? It can maybe pacify. It may go to where I'm hearing you say, and I come to you like, you know what? God could smack me over the head. That prayer and fast smack me over the head. You know what, sister? Can I talk to you? Man, I just realized, I said something. I didn't mean to fit. You see how I can change something, right? Or also the fast prayer can maybe strengthen you up. You might say, you know what? That offended me, but it shouldn't have offended me. I think it was something else that really, triggered me. I thought it was him, but the offense wasn't him. It was something within me, something I was dealing with, right? So when we're doing all these things, we want to acknowledge God in all the ways. So we always pray. I always say, pray. Lord, how should I handle this situation? And if you are going into with the mindset of humbly, Lord, how should I handle it? And then you're going that way, beloved, don't fret. No matter how the situation goes, the most you can do is pray and come with what? Humility. Okay, and that goes to, matter of fact, let's look at it. Those that are spiritual. Is that Galatians 5? Let's see. No. Maybe 6. Yep, 6. Galatians 6 and verse 1. Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, all right, restore such a one. How? In the spirit of meekness. How do you know it's in the spirit of meekness? Considering thyself, how would you want it done for you? Least thou also be tempted. Okay? You see that part? At least you be tempted. So you want to pray. Okay? Ask God for direction. Because there's some things, beloved, God might say, you know what? I don't want you to say nothing to that person. Because some people are in a state where that person might be just having the devil on them fully, right? And at that time, I need to even address it. Okay? Sometimes it gets that way. But the person that got, the spirit full on them, they can't hear them. They're ready just to spew out their hate on it. Sometimes it's that way. Okay? With people of God, it should be that way. You should be able to address them, and the other person should be able to hear it. When both parties in the right state of mind, it should be an easy resolution. Okay? If it blows up, it's because somebody, one of the two parties, or both of the parties, is out of the spirit. Okay? So, but we have to be what? The first thing he says, if somebody's overtaking the fault, so how you think about overtaking? What took it over them? Say nothing got them somehow. And what you have to do, ye got to be spiritual before you deal with that. Some people are not spiritual and they want to deal with this matter. Oh, this person got Satan all on them, but I'm about to go in there with my thinking my might can do it. No, it's by his spirit that's going to have to break that when Satan overtaken it. So that's why I say, if you're not in the right spirit, you can't even handle the situation. Your best bet is say, Lord, strengthen me so that spirit don't overtake me. Sometimes people got to do that. Some things is not for you to handle, right? Sometimes that's why you got leadership, and certain people can help and handle those kind of situations. But the first thing is preservation of self, beloved. If you can't handle, if you're not strong enough to deal with, then you need to just strengthen yourself. That's no problem, beloved. All right? That's not weakness. Okay? It's better to handle one devil than now to try to handle two, right? You dealt with this, and now two of y'all feel with Hasatan, right? So ye that are spiritual, restore. Okay, you have to come with a certain spirit. So if you're like, man, I'm going to go and talk to this brother, and then you already pissed off, and you already have, Satan play the whole thing in your head. If he go and say something the wrong thing, or he act like he ain't sorry and everything, I'm going to let him have peace of my mind. Yep, you already in the wrong spirit. You already in the wrong spirit. Just pray and fast at that point. God, listen, God, I'm telling you right now, God ain't using you when you're in that mood. I ain't even gonna let these wicked people try to lie to you. Nope, God is not using you. You're gonna have to what? Go back to fasting and praying and take that thing off of you. Because that shouldn't be the way that you are approaching the situation. Because that's not how the spirits work. Okay. All right. Let's keep going. Verse 16. Let's reason, go before every enterprise, and counsel before every action, right? The conscience is a sign of changing of the heart, all right? So, people, they say that like the countenance change on them, right? Something's up, something don't seem right, right? You're recognizing the countenance or the spirit of that person changing, okay? Verse 18, four manner of things appear, good and evil, life and death. But the tongue ruleth over them continually. All right. Yes, that we go to James. We go to James. We're going to talk about that. All right. But verse 19. There's one that is wise and teacheth many, and yet is unprofitable to himself. I want y'all to hear that, beloved. There's one that is wise and teacheth many, and yet is unprofitable to himself. This is one of my prayers. Lord, don't do that. Don't let me guide people to you and I be lost on the way. And some people don't catch that. Just because they guide you, that don't mean always that what they're doing is right. All right. So, beloved people that teach, we got to take heed lest we fall. Because there's some people that's off, beloved, but sometimes they'll give some right things. They go through scripture and give you the right counsel with certain things. Sometimes you can't trust that source though all the time, but sometimes they do. All right, but there's going to be some that teach, that's wise and can teach many, but guess what? It's unprofitable to them. Some people will tell you the right thing to do, but they won't take the advice themselves. Right? So this does happen. I think Paul talks about as well. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I think it's 1 Corinthians 9. I know it's like the last verse. Let me just, if I can find it. Yep, all praises. All right. 1 Corinthians 9. 1 Corinthians 9. And we go to the last verse real quick. But I keep under my body and bring it into subjection, lest that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway. Boy, that thing shook me, beloved. Because that's a prayer. I pray that, Lord, don't let my, I think they had a song, I don't know about preaching be in vain or whatever, right? I don't want to preach. The preaching ain't going to be in vain, right? Message is the message, right? But I myself should be a castaway. I don't want to be preaching, helping everybody else get to the kingdom, and I don't make it. Okay. So, beloved, with everything, we want to make sure we're not doing that. Okay. We want to do the work, but also make sure we're buying into what we are what the Spirit is leading and teaching us to guide people with. All right. Make sure you apply it to you first. Okay. Going back to Ecclesiasticus. Okay. What verse? All right. Verse 20. There's one that showed wisdom in words and is hated. So some people show wisdom with words and they'll be hated. He shall be destitute of all food. All right. So he's going to be lacking in food because. All right. So just because you have good wisdom, don't mean everything's going to be good. Don't mean you're going to have sufficient. Okay. So sometimes you're going to teach wisdom and people are going to hate you for it. That's why you can't get caught up on because somebody don't like me, that mean it was wrong or the message was wrong. No, it's not always correlated. All right. It's not always a correlation. Sometimes you can speak the right stuff and be hated. All right. And therefore, you might be destitute of food from that. Okay. Verse 21, for grace is not given him from the Lord because he is deprived of all wisdom. All right. So grace is not given to him because he's deprived of all wisdom. All right. And I think it's going to talk about that part even a little later. Verse 22, another is wise to himself, and the fruits of understanding are commendable in his mouth. All right. But verse 23, a wise man instructeth his people, and the fruits of understanding fail not. Okay. So this, of course, is what we would desire. But listen, another is wise to himself, right? He's going to have, and the fruits of understanding are commendable in his mouth. All right. He's going to have some things. But a wise man, beloved, because there are some people that have wisdom, but their wisdom is not always for the betterment of the people or betterment for others. Some things is for selfish gain, selfish reasons. And the scriptures they try to make it obvious to us, trying to warn us. Okay. But a wise man instructed his people. We want to be wise. The Lord has told us to be wise among the earth. All right. So wise men will instruct his people, and the fruits of his understanding fail not. All right. So we're going to constantly increase with knowledge and understanding. And that's what we're praying. We know we only babes in this. We know that there's so much to get and learn. Right. But as long as we be faithful, doing what we're supposed to be doing, because we know our heart is about the people, we know that God is going to continue to bless our understanding that we can provide better for his people. We know it. This is our faith. We know it. We've grown so far from what we knew, and we know there's a lot more we can get. Right. I told y'all years ago about, when we first came together, we wanted to actually learn. We wanted to go back and we wanted to learn, go piece by piece and learn this Bible, before we even went out and tried to help anybody or correlated class. But, people came in and, we wanted to teach it. So we kind of had to kind of be forced right into the rotation. Right. But we said, Lord, we don't know. We don't want to mess nobody up. Right. People are hurt. People out here hurt. They need, we sincere, we want to do it, but we just want to make sure we're giving the right. And that was our prayer. Right. And God's sending people because, like you said, some people sincere, some people, have been taken advantage of, been hurt. And we do understand that. And we do not want to continue that cycle whatsoever. Okay. And with the power of God, we will never cause no harm to nobody, that's seeking God or anything like that. That's our prayer. All right. And with that, he will continue to increase. Not just leaders, all of us that's trying to do good and be better and help God's people. He will increase us with whatever gifts we have. All right. That's what he do. Verse 24. I was about to say 25. Yeah, 24. A wise man shall be filled with blessings, and all they that see him shall count him happy. Okay. So this does happen, beloved. Okay. The nation, we know our nation is going through a lot. We know our nation is, hated and despised among this world, right? We get it. But beloved, individually, you're going to see some of us that's doing pretty good. Okay. And I'm not just talking about monetarily, right? But yes, they're going to be okay, right? When you're going to see them and say, man, they're blessed. Man, they look happy, right? It's good when you go. Definitely, if you've been through stuff, beloved, when you start to, man, I wish I could be happy like that brother. Like he always happy. See, like everything's good in his life. Man, that sister always smile. Man, I just want to be around. I just want a piece of, that joy and that smile. That's what it is. That's that blessing. But a lot of people, when you start to understand, some people don't even know what they're chasing after, right? And a lot of times, when people go through so much stuff and then they kind of go to religion afterwards. But when you think about it, a lot of people want riches so they can be comfortable or be happy, right? I want to get this because this is going to make me happy. And what do you hear a lot of times when you hear these interviews? They're like, man, I wish people was rich so they see this don't bring happiness. Man, it seems like it's more problem when I got these, right? They'll talk about that. They don't realize this is the peace of mind that we get, right? The Most High has given us something so valuable that the rich can't afford it. We got something that the rich can't afford. But we sometimes don't see it that way because we have been blinded through this world, all right? Someone will sell all they have to get that peace of happiness and satisfaction that we get, beloved, that joy we get. And some of them are seeking all those places to try to get it. That's why they go to drugs. Some of them get promiscuous with sexual activity. They're doing all these things to try to fill some void, but that void is in Christ. No matter how much drugs you pump in your system, no matter how many women these guys sleep with, no matter how much men these women sleep, all this kind of stuff, all the fame and all that stuff, it will not fill that void. God has put that void in each and every one of us that we will what? Seek him. And when we truly seek him, we shall be filled. Blessed are those that hunger and thirst after righteousness. Y'all don't think happiness and joy is righteousness? Right? And the fruit of the spirit, right? That joy, right? You don't think that's part of righteousness? But after if they keep seeking, and they mean well, they'll run across a man of God or a woman of God that'll lead them, to that man of God. All right. But that's what the Most High put in them. So when you're seeing these things, you look at the world differently. That's why we have a lot of compassion. You see something like, dang, the devil got them. Man, they don't know how much they need God. All right. You'll start to look at things differently. All right. But let's keep going. What verse did we fall down? All right. Verse 25. The days of the life of a man may be numbered, but the days of Israel, Yasharallah, as we'll say, are innumerable. All right. So the days of the life of a man may be numbered, but the days of Israel are innumerable. A wise man shall inherit glory among his people, and his name shall be perpetual. All right. So a wise man, what? They'll get that glory. They'll be known for that among the people. Man, this dude, wise dude, blah, blah, blah. Right. And that's something we should be inspiring definitely our young people to be. Okay. That name will continue on. Verse 27, my son, prove thy soul in thy life and see what is evil for it and give not that unto it. All right. So he's saying, son, look at the world. All right. Observe, discern what's good and what's evil, and don't go to what, beloved? Don't go to that evil stuff, right? And this happens, but we realize wisdom. Some things might not be a sin, but if you see these things like, well, a lot of people, this takes them right to sin, I'm going to be mindful of that, right? So this is what he's saying. Go ahead, use your vision, use your eyes, use your knowledge, use the wisdom, and then analyze and look at things. All right. And if you see something evil or evil flirting around and all that stuff, you need to what? Don't give yourself into that. Okay, avoid that. Verse 27. I'm sorry, 28. For all things are not profitable for all men, neither have every soul pleasure in everything. All right. So all things is not profitable to everybody. Everything ain't gonna be, good for everybody. All right. You need to understand what's acceptable and good for you. All right. But the one thing might give this person pleasure and joy and happiness and might not give the next person. Okay. So you have to what? Analyze those things. Okay. Even, I hate to always talk about relationships all the time, right? But even I talk about mate selection, all right? And we talk about, oh, they got the spirit, I got the spirit. Well, you know what? In church, people love, you should go together. Oh my God. sometimes they like that person, right? In the sense of not in a sexual manner, but oh my God, this would be somebody that I would like. But that don't mean that person will like it. And because they push you so much, you think, well, I must have something wrong with me because they say this is a good person. He might be a good guy, sis, but he might not be compatible for you. You might not just feel him that way. Be attractive, have money, all the kinds of, but that might not be for you. So don't just force it because people are telling you to, right? These are some of those things. It might not be for you. Same thing, vice versa, brother. Might be in church, she might be beautiful, all that kind of stuff, but she might not be compatible for you. Okay. Verse 29, be not unsatiable or insatiable. So I'm saying, I forgot how to say it. In any dainty thing, nor too greedy upon meats. Okay. So it's dealing with that, almost that gluttonous aspect. Okay. And you're going to see verse 30. For excess of meats bringeth sickness, and surfeiting will turn into choler. All right. Or color. I looked these words up a while ago, beloved, when I first read this stuff. Okay, but basically, beloved, it's just saying don't be over there just being right. You just consuming all these meats. Guess what? You're saying that's going to make you sick. All right, you just consume all these candies, everything. What stuff's going to happen, right? So he's saying you basically going to need that balance. All right, you look at this. So people talk about, oh, don't talk the diet. It's just about kosher. Yeah, it can still be according to dietary law, right? It can be burgers or lambs, but you should be having lambs breakfast, lunch, and dinner 4 or 5 days, right? That could be too much consumption of that, okay? And that's going to have its repercussions, okay? So he's telling you about that. By surfeiting, listening, by surfeiting have many perished, but he that taketh heed prolongeth his life. Okay, y'all see that? So many people perish going into that surfing. Let me get the definition for y'all. Okay. I'll make sure I get the right definition for y'all. Now I'm trying to definition that. Okay. So it's an abundant, overabundant supply, excess, and intemperate or immoderate indulgence in something such as food or drink, disgust caused by excess. All right. So you know how sometimes you be like, oh my God, I ate so much. Oh, I'm just smelling food. You like, I'm about to just throw up, right? You know, stuff too much. All right. You can't, your body's not built to keep doing that. Okay. So this is where he's talking about is taking that over assumption, that excess, right? Just like with wine, talks about what? Don't have excess of wine. All right, where it's too much because what's happening. That's when you get, being drunk and all that kind of stuff. So moderation compared to excess, all right? And too much of something is going to what? Many people have perished. Okay. But he that taketh heed, right? You looking and observing, being moderate with things, that person is going to what? Usually have life. Okay. All right. Just in time. Anybody have anything for what we went over? All right. If that is all, we shall end it there. We shall end it there. I'm going to say, as always, shalom and ayana habatham, which means we love you all. We love you all to our Zoom family. All right.